the spring intel we're getting out of Texas, they feel like they are right in the window to go win a national title. And it's hard to argue because the last couple of seasons you've made the semifinals in the 4-team model and the 12-team model. Texas is knocking on the door. And I want to backtrack here a second to that semifinal game a season ago. Everyone will just do the flyover thought of, well, they lost by 2 scores to Ohio State. Ohio State's Ohio State. Like, it is what it is. What if we live in the alternate universe where Texas punches it in from the 1-yard line and maybe we go to overtime with Ohio State? If we're Texas, maybe we have a chance where that's momentum swinging our way and we find a way to win that football game, and then we go play Notre Dame for a national championship. Cato and I were talking the other day. What's that spread at if they go play Notre Dame for the national title? I don't know, but I think it's a slight favorite towards Texas, maybe 2.5, 3.5. Doesn't matter, but the point being, there is, I think, some real focus for this team ahead of 2025 because of how close they've been the last couple of years. Sark being that close the last couple of years, I have to imagine, leads to a sense of validation. Okay, what we're doing is working here. But we're all going to talk about Arch Manning here this spring. And there are only a few practices in, but the expectation for Arch Manning is he's going to be really good. And it's interesting how they've talked about Arch, because with as high profile as he is and as high profile as he was as a recruit, I think it's very easy to want to tippy-toe with a personality like that. You don't want to put him too far out in the spotlight. You don't want to have him be this larger-than-life story, but Texas hasn't really fought that. Like, I think Texas and the fan base and the media and I think everyone internally understands, like, no, this is the time. This is what you signed up for. He's had his time to wait. He's watched Quinn Ewers do it. He's been a part of some good teams. Like, it is now Arch Manning's team. And by all accounts, he understands that. He knows what comes with that, and he is embracing all of that. So that's why you're seeing him do the Marty Smith interview. You're seeing him do the Red Bull NIL deals. Like, nobody's questioning Arch Manning's commitment to football. And the fact that he's now in a place where he's able to be a little bit more front-facing and that Texas is cool with that should tell you a little bit about the confidence they have in what he's going to be here in 2025. What I've been told is the folks in Texas are ready to ride the hype train. There's no half-stepping here. They believe he's that good. He has, to this point, been as advertised behind closed doors. Now it's time to go do it on Saturdays. In regards to what it's going to look like offensively with him at quarterback, they think they can do a bit more within the playbook, is what I've been told. He's got the mobility part of him. You can do some more designed quarterback runs. What he is downfield as a passer, I'm really curious to see, because you got Ryan Wingo, who's got some LASIK now, so look out. The guy's running in for he's got over 16 yards of catch in the SEC. Just, going the Braille kind of approach there for my guy. So good to see he's going to have some vision here. They think they can kind of open things up a little bit more with Arch Manning, is I guess the sentiment I'm trying to drive home here. Trey Wisner gets another year in the system. Jarrett Gibson, they asked probably to play, I would have to believe, I don't know this to be the case, but I have to believe you asked him to play earlier than maybe you would have envisioned he would have at Texas. So running back room, still some things you're sorting out, but you feel good there. The offensive line is really interesting because they're replacing 4 different guys. Anytime you lose 4 of 5 starters on the offensive line, typically that's reason for some internal panic. Not Texas. Texas is like, cool, we lose our 4 offensive linemen, we bring back 1 starter. We feel good about it. And the reason for that being, they are going to replace those 4 offensive linemen with guys with experience. And the one cat that doesn't have experience is Brandon Baker, and he's a 5-star kind of profile player. So maybe he ends up having the role that he's going to be a full-time starter. We'll see how the spring goes. The bottom line here is offensive line is going to be a position of strength they believe in Austin. Now, defensively, there's optimism around the defensive line. I think it's interesting now the last couple of years we have, I guess really just last year, we're asking questions about the trenches for Texas because you had Devondre Sweat and you had Byron Murphy both go to the league after Texas makes the college football playoff. They play to the last snap against Washington, and we're all like, well, was that their year? I mean, those dudes are 2 NFL draft picks, 2 All-Americans. Is that their year? And then they run it back this upcoming season, or this past season, 2024, and like Texas didn't really miss a beat. Still one of the best line of scrimmage teams in college football. So it's still wait and see a little bit with the defensive tackles, but me personally, with all they have around them in this defense, from a Colin Simmons to an Anthony Hill with the pass rush, with the experience on the back end with Michael Taft, like they still feel good about this defense. There's a lot of confidence there. Is there some things you're waiting and seeing about defensively? Sure, but I don't think there's any real major unknown. And that's kind of the way they feel right now out there in Austin. One thing I did here, which I think is super fascinating, speaking to the Texas defense, you lose a Jahdae Barron. and he played all over the field for Texas a season ago. Did a lot of things for them. Played the nickel, played true corner. One thing they were able to do, though, with how rangy that secondary was last year, they were able to play a lot of one high coverage. And when you have one safety deep as opposed to two safeties deep, what does that mean? It means you have more bodies up close to the line of scrimmage to be able to play better run support. They think they may do some more of that this upcoming season. The question is, can you replace a Jahdae Barron or replace schematically enough of what Jahdae Barron brought to the table to still play that at a high level? But the Michael Taaffe effect, I have to believe, is going to play a factor here for Texas, bringing him back with his experience and his leadership. And there's a ton of confidence in what they're going to be overall on the defensive side of the football. So we speak about Texas and we speak about the unknowns and the things we're trying to get a gauge for, but these are still champagne problems. You're still speaking about the unknown at Texas in the context of a team that I believe is the number one team in the country heading into 2025. Will they play that way? Will they finish that way? Remains to be seen, but it's not about the ingredients at Texas. They're in a good spot. So Texas vibes are, as we say during spring practice, where they're supposed to be. Arch Manning experience is going to be awesome, but nobody is shying away from the hype train. In fact, everyone's buckling up, buying their ticket, ready to ride, and it should be a good time out there in Austin in the fall.